I eliminated a shiny Drozee and a Pokemon that was making me feel uneasy. The only shiny Pokemon I've ever removed from my Pokemon Go storage was shiny pink Drozee. It all began when I wouldn't get into this automobile with a friend of mine who was in his middle years, and we used to go on raid battles. I'm going to call him Mr. Family Man. The year was 2017. Pokemon Go wasn't always like this. There was no combat, no commerce, and no distant raid pass. Pokemon Go retained most of its original design, except for the inclusion of daily research assignments and raid monsters. I was enrolled in an international private school in Thailand at the time. Within the school, there were 10 gyms and more than 20 Pokestops. I believe that this occurred because earlier individuals were playing Ingress. I'm an introvert. I'd like to play the game alone. But if I wanted to stand a chance against the raid bosses, I had to join a local group chat of other players. While there were professors and students in this group chat, the majority of participants were outsiders. They were between the ages of 30 and 60. They were employees of a country club, a neighboring airport, taxi drivers, and local business owners. The guy at the core of this tale, Mr. Family Guy, worked as a dispatcher for a shuttle service at a neighboring hotel. Everyone at the moment was vying for Mewtwo. Since Mewtwo was once a raid boss, we are aware of his precise appearance, time, and location. But there was one Pokemon that was even more precious than Mewtwo, a Pokemon that exploited Mewtwo's vulnerability. Tyranitar was that Pokemon. Tyranitar was uncommon. I had only seen its basic form, Lavender, twice before Community Day. Since it was so uncommon, Tyranitar could only be obtained by defeating it as a 3-star raid boss. Everyone in the conversation went crazy when Tyranitar showed up. There was once a Tyranitar attack in an unpaved area outside the school. It was merely a gate in the midst of a field. It was evening as well. Although I believe it was the last raid of the day, Pokemon Go did not include raid fights at night. In order for my pals and I to raid Tyranitar together, Mr. Family Man promised to drive his vehicle to the dorm and pick us up. But at the last minute, my buddies decided not to go. I had second thoughts when I realized that Mr. Roken, Family Man's vehicle, would only be used by myself. I had no idea what had struck me. I'm a male. However, some could consider me soft and of tiny size, and I have no doubt that Mr. Family Man would not harm me in any way, but it struck me as his pickup pulled up. This was not a guy I knew. He was not employed by the school. Night has fallen. I was going to get into his vehicle by myself and go out into the center of the field to a really private place. It will be just the two of us. It seemed wrong, and maybe I was just paranoid. I informed him that I would not be joining him. He then did something that, in my opinion, was really strange. He pulled out his smartphone, which displayed an animated image of a sleepy, sparkly pink woman at the time. Shiny Drowsy wasn't available on Pokemon Go. Instead, he merely displayed the GIF, which he had most likely got off the internet. He stated he was sleepy and asked me to accompany him into the vehicle. I couldn't express myself. My heart fell because I felt so unsettling. I stepped back and bowed nicely. Mr. Family Man then lost his cool before he sped off. He said that I was wasting his time and that people don't take the game seriously. I was unaware of the recent events. I was trembling, despite the fact that there were 2 other individuals who behaved more like leaders. Mr. Decent Family Man preferred to consider himself to be the group's leader. Out of the more than 300 members, Mr. Family Man was just the most vocal. He constantly announces and jokes loudly while we're waiting for the raid to begin. They weren't insulting, just annoying. Mr. Family Man continued to speak with me normally after the postponed Tyranitar attack, but it was clear that he was unhappy with me and was just putting up a front to raid the bosses. We all need one another. I also get the impression that he was envious of the other group pack leaders when Pokemon Go had an event dubbed Community Day. Another man, let's call him Husbandman, had his wife bring roasted chickens and curries to share with us. Mr. Familyman was probably envious of this. He began increasingly taking his wife and kids along to the raid, but frequently they simply remained in the vehicle. As we waited for the raid to begin, he began to tell us more and more about his family's history. He carried on as if he were in a political campaign. When Mr. Family Man revealed to the group that one of his family members was unwell, and that he would not be playing Pokemon Go much as a result. Things reached a breaking point knowing this. The other group leaders refrained from typing into the group chat when a Tyranitar raid materialized close to the school. We basically went to grab it together after informing each other about the raid outside of the main group chat. Mr. Family Man was enraged to learn that he had missed a Tyranitar raid. Those who saw the blowout believed it to be a horrific scene, but I wasn't present. I missed his angry outburst in the group chat, and he subsequently deleted all of the conversations. A few evenings later, I received a private message from Mr. Family Man. He said that the Lapras Pokemon, which I had long desired, sprouted outside the hotel where he worked. It always showed up at around 11 p.m., however, he remarked. I will never get this Pokemon because I was a scaredy cat and wouldn't get into his car alone. I assumed this was a prank, so I texted a laughing emoji once again. He shared a gif of a dazzling sleepy. Please emerge, please emerge. This was unsettling to me. I sent an emoji of laughter, but it wasn't true laughter. It dawned on me abruptly that I was standing outside my dorm. Why was I outdoors at 11 p.m.? My leg moved all by itself as I was speaking with him. Things frightened me, but I often do this before blaming anything supernatural for this. When I was talking to someone on the phone or having a conversation, my body moved naturally, but I only went that far on one stroll. I couldn't even remember entering the elevator. Mr. Family Man then failed to notice a quiet raid. This has never occurred before. A co-worker of Mr. G. Family Man said that he and his wife got into a heated dispute about the health issue their family was experiencing. They could get divorced since things became so awful. After Mr. Family Man sometimes made an appearance. He said that his GPS confused him and that he had to remain in his vehicle in order to participate in the raid. So he often remained in his car rather than going with the others as he had in the past. He only got out of his automobile once to demonstrate that he had encountered a shiny Kyogre. He was giddy with excitement and wanted to show it off to everyone. Then one day he just stopped appearing. The hotel where he worked was able to live on the travelers arriving from the airport, but once construction on a large hotel next to the airport was completed, the number of guests dropped by about 80%. The motel was permanently shuttered after a few months. It has been a while since I last saw Mr. Family Man, that is until October 2018, when shiny Drozee was made available on Pokemon Go. I discovered there was an assault going on in the gym adjacent to my hostel at approximately 1 in the morning. I wanted to see who would take over my gym since I thought it was funny. That guy posted a shiny Drozee to watch over the gym, Mr. Family Menace. Dead was the screen moniker of the trainer. I almost dropped my phone because I was so upset by this. I captured the screen, but because Mr. Family Man was still there, I decided against sending it to a group chat. I tried to get in touch with the other group members, but nobody answered. 1 in the morning had already arrived. Due to their work, middle-aged folks tend to sleep early. I was hesitant at first, but after some time I simply sent the screen cap to the group. I even inquired, "Was this you?" to Mr. Family Man himself. Nobody replied, not even the next day. Instead, Mr. Family Man continued to demolish the gym and swapped out my Pokemon with a shiny Sleepy. When I thought I had it all figured out one night, I merely fought his shiny drowsiness to take back my gym, to be honest. Sending my Pokemon to bash it up felt sort of wonderful. Subsequently, I received a private chat message from Mr. Family Man. It showed Lapper spawning at the location of his former motel that night. It was a full moon, which always excited me for some weird reason, and I felt adventurous, or you may say stupid. I asked my friend who has a car to go with me to that area, and let's get that Lappers. My pal agreed that I was equally stupid. I responded to Mr. Family Man's message by typing, "Thank you, I'm coming to it," in the chat. He responded with a gif of a shiny Drowsy, then typed, "It worked, you're coming out, come out, come out, come out." The exciting energy that I had disappeared. I was so creeped out, but my friend already walked downstairs with car keys in hand. I didn't want to cancel it. As I got into my friend's car, I decided to tell some of the people in the group chat where I was going. I don't know why I did this. It made no sense, like, I'm going to Mr. Family Man's old hotel to get a Lapras. See ya, but I did anyway then. To my surprise, my husbandman called me. It was very weird to receive a phone call from someone from the Pokemon Go group. I picked up the phone and he said Mr. Family Man unalived himself a few months ago inside the hotel where he worked. Husbandman said he didn't want to tell anyone in the group chat because he didn't think anybody there liked Mr. Family Man that much. He thought Mr. Family Man instead was a prankster who knew I would be freaked out. No way it was the real him. I started freaking out. I hang up without telling husbandman that Mr. Family Man privately messaged me. I stared at the chat and I told my friend to not drive there anymore. I don't care how upset he was going to be. I was so horrified I left the group chat and deleted the Pokemon Go app a few years later. I think it was during the pandemic. I re-downloaded Pokemon Go again. Who can resist Magikarp Community Day, right? One time I saw a Pokemon I wanted to be spawned among several other Pokemon. I was trying to get that Pokemon. I didn't even remember what it was, but my finger hit a Drowsy instead. That Drowsy was shiny. I deleted it immediately. The Pokemon Go app was not having it. It kept asking me if I was sure. I think I might have been the only person in the history of the game that intentionally deleted a shiny, but you understand why, right?